Tonight, more details on a homicide in Outer Cove. Police now say a woman was murdered and they've charged her husband with her death.
More than 20 people gathered here at the dock in Change Islands to slow traffic in and off the boat in their protest of a reduced ferry route schedule.
We would like to have the services put back like it was.
That story tonight on Here and Now.
Well, a major winter storm on the way. Parts of the province are going to see significant snow. I'll get into all the details coming up.
This is CBC Here and Now.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. Our top story tonight, we have sobering new details about the death this week of a St. John's woman, a mother of 5 young children. And this afternoon, the RNC announced it had charged a 36-year-old man with first-degree murder and kidnapping in connection with the woman's death. Terry Roberts joins us now live with a revealing look at this tragedy. But first, a warning, some of the details you're about to hear may be disturbing. So Terry, take us through what you know so far.
Well, Carolyn, here's what I've been able to confirm. Nariman Abdul Al Ghafour is dead, and the police believe her husband, his name, Ibrahim Al Ahmad, age 36, murdered her. Now, they were from Syria, and they had 5 children. Now, this story has sent shockwaves through the Syrian community, about 200 families here in the city, and well beyond. Now, not just Nariman's tragic death, but because there's a legal paper trail that shows Nariman had gone to the police in the recent past to report alleged abuse at the hands of her husband. Now, there were numerous charges pending against him: assault with a weapon, forcible confinement, uttering death threats. Now, at one point, Nariman and her children were placed in a shelter for family members experiencing domestic violence. A court had also ordered Al Ahmad to stay away from his wife and their children. But Nariman was killed on Tuesday, and members of the Syrian community are shocked by this homicide, and they're angry that more wasn't done to protect Nariman.
For years, she was too scared to tell the truth about him. He was not nice to everyone. He did not have many friends. She just wanted to live in peace and take care of her kids and everything. But after she was separated from her husband, she started telling us about all the horrible stories that he did at home. And we became more scared. Like, we were afraid of him because he was aggressive.
Terrible story, Terry. So what happened on Tuesday?
Yeah, well, Nariman Abdul Al Ghafour, she was last seen Tuesday morning before 9 o'clock on Middleton Street. Now, that's in the Virginia Park area in the east end of St. John's. So she lived in a townhouse in that neighborhood with her children. Now, police have also linked a blue Hyundai Elantra to this case. Now, they say this car traveled from Middleton Street to Liam Drive in Outer Cove at around the same time Tuesday morning. Now, that's a distance of about 5 kilometers. So I know from my research that Ibrahim is linked to this car. Liam Drive is a secluded gravel road behind St. Francis of Assisi School. Now, at the entrance to this road is an abandoned house, broken windows, a failing roof. Nariman was killed inside this house, police tell me. Now, here's what else I've been able to piece together. Ibrahim Al Ahmad was seen on Liam Drive Tuesday morning, but it was under the most dramatic of circumstances. Now, next door to that abandoned house is an automotive shop. Now, a woman working at that business was shocked when a man came into the building covered in blood with cuts to his neck and wrist. So she called 911 and police and paramedics responded. Now, a short time later, Nariman's body was discovered in that abandoned house. So I showed this woman who works on Liam Drive a photo of Ibrahim Al Ahmad, and she positively identified him as the same bloody man that she encountered Tuesday morning. So the charges against Al Ahmad, well, they were entered in court this afternoon. He was not present, and we're not sure about his medical condition. Now, meanwhile, the Syrian community is looking for justice in this case. They're also eager for Nariman's body to be released to them so they can conduct a proper Islamic funeral. All this now as the country gets set to mark International Women's Day. Reporting live from the newsroom, I'm Terry Roberts for Here and Now.
Well, in other news, the opposition is accusing the government of ignoring warnings 7 years ago that there were problems with too many bodies in the morgue. This after a CBC story yesterday showed 4 freezer containers outside the Health Sciences Centre filled with corpses. The opposition says government ignored warnings about problems at the morgue.
The third bullet of the report by the Office of Chief Medical Examiner in 2017 says unequivocal. Office of Chief Medical Examiner's current facilities are inadequate. Quote, it's recommended an expansion for purpose-built facility. Speaker, after 7 years and the disgraceful treatment of human remains, has nothing been done. Why?
The Honourable the Minister of Health and Community Services.
Mr. Speaker, the Health Authority is putting in place a longer-term solution for respectful storage of remains at the Health Authority. That may have come out of that report, Mr. Speaker. I will remind the member that in 2017, I was sitting in the Speaker's chair. I don't believe I read that report. However, Mr. Speaker, the reality is the Health Authority are dealing with a more respectful way of maintaining the remains. That is something that the Health Authority have been proactive on, Mr. Speaker. The sites of these storage units outside were disturbing. They were disturbing to me. I would say they were disturbing to anybody and everybody who has seen them.
Well, outside the House of Assembly, the province's newest minister says government officials are working hard to help homeless people in this province, especially today with a storm that may continue for days in the forecast. Housing Minister Fred Hutton says he visited people living in tents outside the Colonial Building this morning and let everyone know that options are available for them to get indoors. When asked again if he believes housing is a human right, Hutton said that right now he's focused on ensuring no one is homeless.
Right now, my focus is getting up to speed on the number of people who are homeless and trying to make sure that first and foremost, they are given somewhere to stay and they are told. During this period of with a storm coming, we've been in contact with End Homelessness St. John's and our other community partners, but mainly through Doug, who coordinates it all, Doug Pawson, to make sure that we do extra checks today as the storm begins to make sure that people know this, that they have options, and options are made available to them each and every day, but more so today. Some told us today that they were going to stay and ride out the storm. So what we've decided to do as well, to make sure that they're checked on regularly, because this is supposed to be a prolonged system, and we want to make sure that if at 10 o'clock tonight somebody decides that, no, I think I would like to leave, there's an option there. There's taxis available to take them to the warming shelter, at Safe Haven or a gathering place, and at that point they begin the point of entry into the emergency shelter line, and then our coordinated access table works with people to figure out where they're going to end up for the night. But nobody has to be outside tonight, and I absolutely wish that everyone will actually take us up on the offer to go somewhere.
Well, in anticipation of the storm, there are already some closures and cancellations in place for tomorrow and Saturday. Garbage and recycling pickup in Mount Pearl won't go ahead tomorrow, and neither will the St. John's Farmers Market on Saturday. In preparation for the storm, the City of St. John's is asking people not to park on the street and to be patient when it comes to snow clearing.
So in this storm, we kind of got to wait to see how much we got, what was the drifting like, what did we get accomplished during the storm. For this type of event, we really have to wait and see, because a lot of times, you know, the forecasting, it can change in the middle of the storm. Like I know some meteorologists are indicating we could get some ice pellets, and ice pellets will keep our totals down and it will keep the drifting down. So everybody cross your fingers for ice pellets.
And as she mentioned, certainly a chance of some ice pellets, but that's through tonight. As we head into tomorrow, we're certainly still going to get into some of that heavier snow, which will be when we see that drifting and the heavy winds. So as far as what's happening right now, there's that area of low pressure. It's that warm front that's causing the problems and will do so as we head through the night tonight. Some purple already showing up on the screen there. That is the ice pellets, and it is lifting north at the moment. But we do have a number number of warnings in place. Winter storm warnings for eastern Newfoundland, including Terra Nova and the Canagra Peninsula, and then snowfall warnings from Gander all the way through the interior and then down along the south coast of the island. It's been snowing for most of the day in the Port aux Basques region, and we can see that, or really the south coast is where it's been snowing most of the day, and we can see that here on the radar. I'm just going to show you how much snow is on the way because we're going to talk a lot more about it, but we could be talking about anywhere from 50 to 80 centimeters of snow in some areas. Some may pick up more than that. I'll get into all the forecast details in a little bit.
All right, thanks, Ashley. Now to Labrador. More than a dozen people gathered at the town hall in Happy Valley Goose Bay today to protest council's decision to remove their recreation director. It happened in a nearly unanimous vote last night, and council wouldn't give a reason for the move, calling it a human resources matter. Today, some people say they want answers.
Travis is my son. He's going through a hard time. His family's going through a hard time. The community's going through a hard time. We're trying to get our support, rally the troops. There's a lot of injustice here. We don't know the details of what's going on. It's a lot of smoke and mirrors. The council is, I don't know, I don't understand what's going on. Really don't understand.
I really don't know what they are, what the reason is. I've worked with HR and management on a work plan. We've been making strides with that, but what they discussed, I don't know. I have never had a discussion with council about my any of my skills or anything like that. So I was dumbfounded when I found out this last week.
And if I could just have a second as well.
Yeah, sure.
On our official letter that we received about this termination, it said that they did not believe that Travis Ford had the skill set for this job. But what do they mean by that? They still haven't given us clarification. What skill set? He has an entire university degree to back him up. He's done every single work term at that arena. So at what point were they going to let him know that he didn't have the skill set?
Name hire, is it? Let's go again. Again?
I can't tell you how much this means to me. It's been, I've been giving up a lot of my time for the community since I've come back from university, and never for myself, but just to make sure the programs keep continuing and stuff like that. And I'm glad to see that people have noticed that over the years, and that I have been committed, and this is all I want to do. I went to school for this. This is my dream job, and they're taking it from me. It hurts.
This is Am I Next? So this is something that I also used while protesting and advocating for missing and murdered Indigenous women, but I do think that it applies here because Travis Ford is Inuk and he's in this community. And am I going to be next? Am I going to be the next person who's dismissed for no reason, no cause? Am I going to be the next person kind of tossed to the side?
Who are you asking this question?
Well, you see it a lot with people in power. They kind of, there's decisions made and there's no accountability. There's no explanation, there's no reasoning, there's kind of, everybody's left in the dark with it. And I think it's important to ask the question, am I next? Who is this going to happen to again? What's going to happen next?
To Change Islands now, where residents are upset about changes to their ferry. Government has cut some of the service while the regular ferry is out for repairs. People there say the reduction in service is unacceptable. Troy Turner was on the island and brings us their story.
The boat stop there! The boat stop there!
This is the fifth protest in the past few weeks. About 20 people slowed vehicles leaving the ferry, one by one, delaying traffic to make a point.
In the last 2 or 3 weeks, we've been protesting the ferry, not to gain anything, only to get back what we lost.
The MV Comatic W has been servicing routes to Change Islands and Fogo Island since the MV Veteran was put in for repair.
Normal winter service sees 4 round trips a day, but is increased to 5 round trips on 3 of those days. During maintenance, the province is cutting back to 4 round trips on all days except for 1.
We don't want cut in our services. Once you get cut in your services, then down the road, there could be another cut in services. So that's why we're fighting to keep our services in place.
The extra stop was cut out on Fridays and Sundays.
It doesn't affect our trip on Wednesday now. On Fridays is usually a day that we have hardware come in. So if we were having a truck come in with hardware supplies, they're not going to come. Actually, they're not going to come if they're not guaranteed to get back off the island at a certain time.
The Comatec W is bigger than the Veteran, but that size has meant birthing delays.
We understand we're living on an island, and there's certain times you can't go. But other than that, we think we should be able to go when we need to go, and not be interrupted by, oh, today we're not going to make this run today, or we're not going to make this run another day, and set a schedule and stick to it, instead of us being left out in the cold.
Delays in getting to health care is a big concern.
My main concern is for medical mostly. The ferry, the trips they're taking away from us is impacting us a lot, like medical. A lot of the times I got to go to Gander, emergency mix. On average, I say 2 trips a month to emergency. I don't know what it's all about. I don't know. I mean, to take. And then if they had to take a trip out of it to bring the schedule up so they could get a schedule on time, take it from both islands.
Now, I'm the first responder here on Change Islands, and emergency can come up at any time of the day. I should know. And, I mean, the ferry just got to pass right by here, right? And, I mean, it don't make sense to me why they changed this, right? So it needs to be changed back.
Christina Hoff also has a personal stake in the matter.
My father actually, he's sick, so he needs to be back and forth for his appointments. Very, very important. And he could have to go anytime.
The Provincial Transportation Department would not do an interview. In a prepared statement, it said it consulted with stakeholders about schedule changes, but a consensus could not be reached among the towns on the approach. The people of Change Islands feel the province is driving a wedge between them and Fogo Island.
This place is just as important as anywhere else here, right? And we should be treated the same way. We should be treated equal. Same. I mean, if Fogo got 5 trips, we should have 5 trips.
And what they're doing is just bidding one island against the other, right? And those trips are very important to us.
The town's transportation committee plans to keep applying pressure.
Seems like it's going on deaf ears. And make matters worse, we don't have any MHI. So they're really, we got nobody to fight for us. I'd say down in the future that that ferry is going to be on up there for the night.
It affects everything, like not only us as a business, but like you got people, doctor's appointments. There's no doctor. We don't even don't have a nurse or a doctor come to visit here now, and which we used to have in the past. So any doctor's appointments, specialist appointments, banking, anything like that, you got to go off the island.
People of Change Islands say the protests will continue until government steps in and restores the regular ferry routes. Troy Turner, CBC News, Change Islands.
Well, the province's consumer advocate is calling for Newfoundland Power customers to have access to smart meters. The meters would allow the utility to charge different rates for electricity depending on the time of day. But Newfoundland Power says the smart meters are just too expensive. The CBC's Lucas Wall reports.
If you're a Newfoundland Power customer, your electricity meter is read on a monthly basis to track just how much electricity you're using. But consumer advocate Dennis Brown says customers should have access to smart meters. They're digital meters that can provide consumers with real-time information and allow Newfoundland Power to provide cheaper electricity during times when demand is lower. Brown says that'll save people money and be more energy efficient.
We need something in place where consumers can do their own values in terms of when they want to use electricity and in terms of what they want to pay for it. It gives the consumer the ability to manage. And right now, all the management is with Newfoundland Power. So that's why in other jurisdictions, people have opted for smart meters so they can do what we should have the ability to do here.
Newfoundland Power, meanwhile, says all that would require costly upgrades, with estimates over $100 million. The power utility says the meters may become cost-effective for customers sometime between 2030 and 2034. And it has to be able to show that the benefits of the new meters would outweigh the costs before seeking approval from the Public Utilities Board. The advocate says 94% of Canadian homes will have smart meters by 2030, and he's urging the PUB to order the utility to introduce the meters. Lucas Wall, CBC News, St. John's.
And we'll hear more from consumer advocate Dennis Brown a little later on Here and Now. Well, part-time instructors at Memorial University have given MUN a deadline. The lecturers' union wants to see a new, better wage offer by Sunday night, or it will strike. Lumen says the university made an offer last week that didn't meet the union's expectations, and members have since voted for strike action. Lumen says instructors are currently getting $5,000 to $6,000 per course, and it's asking to raise that fee to $10,000 per course. Memorial University says its current wage offer would place its part-time lecturers 5th out of 12 Atlantic universities. Well, at the Brier, Brad Gauju and Team Canada are on the ice at this hour, facing off against Alberta. Team Gauju is ahead 9-3 at the 6th end break. They're currently sitting at number 2 in their pool behind Saskatchewan. Earlier today, Newfoundland and Labrador's Andrew Simmons downed New Brunswick's James Grattan 10-4, and that brings them to 2 wins, including one over the Yukon. They're currently sitting 7th in their pool.
Well, we've got a lot of snow on the way. Winter storm warnings, snowfall warnings in place. We've also got the risk of some ice pellets and freezing rain for some areas. I'll get into all the details in a few minutes.
This weather update is brought to you by the Healthcare Foundation Home Lottery. The bonus prize deadline is midnight, Friday, April 12th. Order tickets now at hcfhomelottery.ca.
Well, Ashley, a lot of anticipation for this storm. I popped by the supermarket and yeah, it was packed this afternoon. Everyone getting ready for it.
You certainly have seen lineups all the way through the store, typical of what we see at Costco on a weekday or a weekend, but definitely going to see a lot of snow with this system, so stocking up, not a bad idea at this point, but we do have this area of low pressure to the south and a warm front that is essentially going to hang around for the next day or so and encounter some cold air right along with it. And you can see just how different the temperatures are from yesterday. We were talking about mild air. Today, not so much. Down anywhere from 4 to 7 degrees for most. Badger, you're down about 9 degrees. Labrador, different story though. Your temperature's up a little bit, around 1 degree warmer than where you were sitting yesterday. So let's take a look at those temperatures. We're sitting at -3 in St. John's right now, a bit of a wind chill, more like -8. Similar temperatures really across the board within a couple of degrees. Up across Labrador, getting into some of that colder air, -12 in Nain, feeling more like -19 with the wind chill. Labrador, you are going to sit this one out mainly is really only an island event at this point. But if you take a look at the satellite or the radar at the moment, unfortunately, Marble Mountain is down, so we're only really getting the tip of the southwest portion of the island here. But that snow is starting to move in. We're already seeing some of that ice pellet mixture on the southern areas of the island. So this will continue to lift north as we head through the night tonight, just showing that radar picture of where we're seeing, you know, a little bit heavier snowfall. But we should start to see this snow intensify over the next couple of hours and then eventually change to ice pellets. So our temperatures right across the board are going to stay below zero, anywhere from -3 to -7 across the island. Northern Peninsula, you will be a tad cooler than that, -10 in St. Anthony. And again, you're going to completely sit this one out. All the snow should fall south of you. And then across Labrador, you're looking at your temperatures anywhere from -20 to -26 as your overnight low. Now note the winds, not overly impressive tonight. East or northeasterlies across the island anywhere from 30 to 50 kilometers per hour. As we head into tomorrow, this is when we're going to see those winds ramp up. So temperatures again are going to stay either near or just below zero right across the board. And then we're looking at conditions really improving for the west as the day goes on. And up across Labrador, you are looking at your temperatures in the minus single digits or even minus double digits, but plenty of sunshine. So what's going to happen? Well, let's take a look at the future tracker. Already seeing that snow, like I said, pretty much across the board at the moment. What I'm expecting to happen tonight is that purple line there, that's the ice pellets, expecting that to lift north tonight. Now this is a tough forecast. We could see the snow tonight for a couple of hours change over to ice pellets for a good chunk of the Avalon, but we're watching also the potential for some freezing rain for the southern portion of the Burin Peninsula as well as the southern portion of the Avalon. And this could be significant amounts of freezing rain that may lead to some power outages because it's going to continue all through the night. But as we head into tomorrow morning, the snow starting to end on the west. So this is a fairly quick event for you. We're going to start to see that snow ending as well through areas like Gander, but it's going to hang on for most of eastern Newfoundland. And this ice pellet mixture, if it does develop, is going to sink south through the day. And this is when we are going to get into the heaviest snow. You will notice when that happens, when we see that changeover from ice pellets to flurries or snow, because the visibility will start to drop. And this is also when we're going to see some of the strongest winds. So expecting those winds to be northeasterlies, anywhere from 50 to as much as 80 kilometers per hour. And again, it will continue through the evening tomorrow and then eventually through the overnight. And we're going to start to see that sink south. We'll start to see that snow ending in the morning for eastern Newfoundland, potentially the metro area, but we'll see that end altogether by the time we get into Saturday afternoon, just in time for cleanup. How much snow are we talking about? I showed you this a little earlier, but 50 to 80 centimeters of snow is not out of the question. If we do see a change over to ice pellets, you'll be on the lower end of that spectrum. If we don't see it, we could be talking about 80, maybe even 90 centimeters of snow. Now, only the Avalon and the Burin Peninsula will likely see that change over to ice pellets. The further you go towards Gander, you're talking about potentially 30 to 50 centimeters of snow, a little less than that, but still substantial, anywhere from 15 to 25 towards Grand Falls, Windsor, and that will work its way back to the southwest. So significant snow on the way. Long range forecast, at least the weekend looks quiet. I'll have those details coming up in a little bit.
Thanks, Ashley. Well, back to Labrador, the epic snowmobile race Kane's Quest is over. Team 99, Saga Boys Vikings, crossed the finish line in Labrador West this afternoon, and for the first time in the race's history, it was won by Innu racers, the father-son team of Randy and Sebastian Malik. Here and Now's Daryl Din was there.
All right, here they come! And we have the Innu have to check us.
And what's it like to see him cross the line?
Honestly, I was a little girl when he first started. Now I'm a grown adult, and this is a one-in-a-lifetime moment, and I'm really, really proud of him.
And what was it like to see them leading basically the whole time?
Exciting, but mostly worried.
Congratulations, how are you feeling?
Well, we feel awesome now.
What's it like to cross the finish line?
It's great, man. Feel awesome.
And I know I was just talking to your daughter, you've been racing for many years, and you finally got to cross the finish line.
Yes.
How was that?
Well, I love it. I never forget it.
And I mean, you're leading most of the way, so were you always worried like something might happen, or you just knew you'd cross the finish line?
Well, we were watching what we're doing in there.
So, great job, Team 99.
And can you tell me a bit about when you got low on gas, another team helped you out?
Yeah, you helped out Team 72, a support team helped out last night.
Even though it's competition, there's great sportsmanship.
Yeah, I like to thank them too. I might wait for them when they come back.
And Randy, how many times, is this your first time doing the race?
My third time now.
Third time. Yeah. So what's it like doing it with your dad?
Feels amazing, man.
And for everyone in Shishishi, like, what do you have to say to them?
We done it!
Thank you. Really, one of the first stories I did hear was the first postponement due to the pandemic, and then last year you had to cancel. So what's it like to finally see a team cross in 2024?
As the first time, this is my first time as chair of Kane's Quest since 2020 that I can actually say we finished the race. Every other interview has been postponement or cancels. So it is very relieving to be able to sit here and do this with you, Daryl, and say that we actually finished one for once. And it's great. It's got the most hype we've seen in a long time. So Kane's Quest is far from over, folks.
And congratulations to everyone who participated. And we have some of our own news to share now. Here and Now has been nominated for a Canadian Screen Award for Best Live News Special. That's for our special Fiona coverage, a show we called Picking Up the Pieces that aired in September of 2022, back when our Here and Now team was on the ground in Port aux Basques following the aftermath of the devastating storm. The winner will be announced in May.
It gives the consumer control of their own billing.
Well, coming up, the province's consumer advocate wants Newfoundland and Labrador to adopt smart meters to help power customers manage their consumption. Well, the province's consumer advocate says this province is behind the times. Dennis Brown says other provinces have adopted smart meters, which allow customers to monitor and manage their own power consumption. Electricity would cost more or less depending on the time of day. I spoke with him about it this afternoon.
It gives the consumer control of their own billing. The consumer can decide what time of day they want to do their laundry or do cooking or whatever, because right now everything here in this province is on a peak system where it's 24 hours, we're operating on peak. But with time of use rates, the system would change. There will be peak hours in which you would pay a peak price for your kilowatt, and in off hours, the rates will be cheaper. So it will give you control of your own budget. And that's why it's so popular. And that's why it's in every other province. And the only province it's not in is this one. And Newfoundland Power is probably the only utility in the country that's not dealing with smart meters in one way or another. And it's just unacceptable. The ratepayers of this province have every right to economize on their usage of energy and to have a smart meter which will assist them in doing that.
So this time of use structure, this would involve Newfoundland Power kind of revamping how they do things. And they say that those kinds of upgrades would be very expensive, $100 million. What do you make of that argument?
Sure. Let's take a look at $100 million. $100 million is not $100 million in 1 year. The way utilities work is they budget over 10, 20-year periods. So that means if it costs $100 million, that $100 million would be costed out over a 10, 20-year period. It would not cause a bump in your electricity rates. Smart meters will not do that. And that's why they're so popular in the rest of the country. Newfoundland Power, for reasons best known to itself, are unwilling to give ratepayers a benefit which every other province has for their ratepayers. Why Newfoundland Power is the outlier is a mystery. If you forgot to turn off your lights in the basement, and we've all done that on occasion, and you come back down a week later, and the lights have been going for a week, a smart meter will pick that up. It would show you there's energy being burnt somewhere in that house. Or if you had a guest room or something, and you had the guest is gone, you forget to turn the heat off. A smart meter will pick that up. So it gives ratepayers all these advantages, and it's the future. And Newfoundland Power can say what they want. Smart meters are coming here. We're not going to be the only jurisdiction in Canada that does not have smart meters. And we will be seeking an order from the Public Utilities Board to implement smart meters in this jurisdiction. Ratepayers need that, and it's time Newfoundland Power got with it and stopped living in their own dark age without smart meters. And we're going to ask the board, there's no need to have this studied. It's been studied to death. All the other jurisdictions in Canada are implementing it. And to install a smart meter in your home takes about 20 minutes. So the other meter alongside of it would then become obsolete. You read the smart meter as an app on your phone. So all the information comes on your phone. It's the future, it's where it's at, and Newfoundland Power has to get with it.
Does the Public Utilities Board have the power to force Newfoundland Power to adopt these smart meters?
Well, they certainly do. The board has to ensure electricity is being consumed economically and that the utilities are presenting it so it can be. That is one of the objectives of the Public Utilities Board. These utilities can't do what they want. They can't charge what they want. And it's time the Public Utilities Board got on board as well. We've been after the Public Utilities Board for over 10 years to implement time of use rates in this jurisdiction so people got options. Newfoundland Power always opposed it, and the board sided with Newfoundland Power. With regret, I say that. Now things have changed. All over Canada, people are opting into smart meters. We cannot be the outlier. The ratepayers of this province have every right to a smart meter.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this. Dennis Brown, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Tomorrow is International Women's Day, and some recreation students are holding a Moment for Movement event at MUN. It's a free fitness class for women and female-identifying people at the university, and it's an effort to push for more inclusivity in recreational spaces. Here now's Sarah Blackmore has more.
Organized sports and gyms and clubs, this is often where a lot of university students find friendship and community. But for some, these spaces aren't always as welcoming.
This project kind of originated from the challenges that I faced when trying to engage in recreational activities. These challenges stemmed from the lack of culturally sensitive space at MUN. To further explain what those challenges are, the challenges that I personally faced as a female Muslim Black student is like there was attire constraints. So like I would have to think about, okay, what kind of clothing do I need to wear, because the space does not accommodate that. And by providing an inclusive space, it allows for individuals of different cultural backgrounds, whether it's religious, ethnic, different physical activity levels, to comfortably engage in these and use the gym, use these facilities.
This International Women's Day Movement Hour started as part of SABA's coursework here at MUN.
So I might be biased, but we have some very brilliant students in our school, and Saba being one of them. So when I corrected her final exam as an educator and a women's health researcher, I felt a sense of responsibility to not just give her a grade, which she did receive an A, but also to support her in her dreams and to help her to answer those questions that she had around the need for more culturally sensitive recreational spaces in university settings.
There's no female-only spaces right now in our field house gyms. Lifelong physical activity is really important, and we're learning more and more about that every day. So any step we can take to remove some of the barriers or the intimidation surrounding physical activity is a step in the right direction.
4 universities in Canada already offer women-only spaces at their gyms. SABA is hoping that this sort of same inclusive space will become a permanent fixture here at MUN. Sarah Blackmore, CBC News, St. John's.
March 31st is an important day for Ukrainian citizens. They have until the end of the month to come to Canada on an emergency visa, and those who are already here have until that day to file paperwork extending their stay for 3 years. The CBC's Georgie Smith has more.
Thank you. A new life in Canada begins with paperwork.
Bye, have a good day.
The emergency visa program that brought more than 200,000 Ukrainians to Canada is ending this month. Anyone approved needs to be in the country before March 31st, and Ukrainians are arriving in their thousands.
I come here because a program is finished, and I think it's important to do it because it's a really good change.
Worked very hard to...
Support groups like this church are noticing an uptick because come April 1st, it'll become harder for Ukrainians to travel here.
It puts us in line with any other individual from many other countries in the world. So it is a very different, it's not a slight change, it's a very big change.
Andrei Batitsky and his wife Katerina Bondarenko arrived in Canada 4 months after Russia invaded their country.
We just built everything to have a good life in Kharkiv. In one moment, everything is destroyed.
They're still adjusting to the pleasures and pressures of life here.
Take a look, my credit history, you will understand how it's tight. Yeah, it's really tight.
I'm a makeup artist.
Working several jobs while trying to extend their visa for another 3 years.
I will try to apply for a PR card because, when you have a permanent resident status in Canada, it looks like you are human.
Some Ukrainians have an easier path to permanent residency if a member of their family is already a citizen. Immigration lawyers say for most, options to stay longer are limited.
You just have to be mindful that there is always a chance that after 5 years or 6 years in Canada, you might have to go home.
Yeah.
For this young couple, it's a possibility difficult to imagine as war grinds on. Georgie Smythe, CBC News, Vancouver.
An archival special from northern Labrador, revisiting an Inuit homeland in search of Arctic char. Watch Return to Cutthroat, Sunday at 11:30 and Monday at 7.
Okay, now we're into the long-range forecast. So we get through the storm that's hitting tonight and all day tomorrow, and then Saturday looking towards the cleanup. What's that like?
Yep, perfect day to clean up. Let's just take a look right at the forecast because yes, it is going to be a mess that we will wake up to on Saturday morning. So once we get into the early morning hours, we should start to see that snow taper off for the Clarenville area as well as Bonavista, and then eventually the northern Avalon will clear, and then the whole Avalon will clear through the afternoon. Now, it's going to stay cloudy through the day. It's not going to be nice sunshine, but it's also going to be fairly windy through the afternoon. So the snow will still be blowing around locally, but it'll still be blowing around. The best, nicest weather will be on the west coast and as well as the southwest coast, as we see that clearing. Now up across Labrador, not a whole lot going on, but we will see some flurries move in for the north coast and eventually the west coast as the day goes on. Your temperatures are going to stay again relatively mild into the minus single digits, except for the north where you will sit into the minus teens. Now the island starting to warm up, especially for the west coast. A beautiful day expected, 4 degrees through the afternoon for Corner Brook, Port aux Basques, and then we've got those temperatures around the single digits, 0 degrees or a little bit below that for central and eastern areas of the island. Saturday night is when the clocks change, so we are looking at a 7 p.m. sunset by the time we get into Sunday, and Sunday will actually be a fairly nice day. Cloudy for the most part, but we'll see some sunshine in the mix there across the island as we sit under that ridge of high pressure. Labrador, generally cloudy with the chance of flurries for the first half of the day, and then they'll move in for the west coast. Now temperatures on Sunday are going to warm up, and this is the start of a couple of days of warm temperatures. So will help to melt some of that snow that has fallen or will have fallen. So anywhere from 0 to about 4 degrees through the day across the island, again with that sunshine. And also the winds will finally ease. Labrador, you're looking at temperatures above 0 for Happy Valley Goose Bay at about +3. Still into the minus single digits though as you head towards the north. Now the long range forecast, like I said, showing temperatures above 0. So we should see some melting. There's still a chance though that we'll see some snow on Monday. I keep an eye on that one. Snow and or showers. By Tuesday, we're looking at showers and eventually some clearing. So Sunday, definitely the nicest day of the weekend. And then for central Newfoundland, you're looking at your temperatures above 0 as well, although it looks like flurries for you on Monday. Same thing for western Newfoundland, warming up to about 5 degrees by the time we get into Tuesday, with the chance of some showers or flurries. Labrador, temperatures above 0, especially in the east as we get through the beginning of next week, and hovering near or just below 0 in the west. Our lovely weather photo of the day. Look at that in the ice there. The reflection, just gorgeous. This is Spencer's Dock, Pilley's Island there. Dennis shared this lovely shot with us. And if you have any weather photos that you would like to share with us, you can send them to my Facebook page or email them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
Great job. Thank you so much for that. And Ashley, I heard some good advice earlier. I don't know if it was from you, but talking about bringing in your snow shovel.
Oh, that's smart. It was not me, but that's a really good idea.
Yeah, like bringing in your snow shovel before it gets, and keeping it indoors just in case it, and it's going to build up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it will. It's a good idea. And it's a marathon, not a sprint. So you're probably going to have to go multiple times out and shovel. So
take your time.
Do your stretches.
Hurt your back. Yes, for sure. Okay, well, that's it for us. Thank you so much. Stay safe out there.
Good night.